Thanks so much for making our tails wag by watching this guest interview from Arden Moore's Four-Legged Life. Four-Legged Life. Now, here comes another pawsome guest interview from Arden Moore's Four-Legged Life. Four-Legged Life. Four-Legged Life.
Pause up, pet pals. Welcome to Arden Moore's Four-Legged Life show. I'm your host, Arden Moore. Hey, we're going to the dogs on this episode. Puppies, adult dogs, even senior canines. Dogs of all ages, sizes, breeds, and personalities. They all deserve to learn and benefit by having good manners. They also deserve to have a little fun. Our special guests today specialize in bringing out the best in dogs. Please welcome to the show from the What a Great Dog Training Centers. We're talking founder and head trainer Maureen, Patin, and owner and operations manager Sharon Lacaze. Welcome to the show, ladies. I'm so glad you're both here.
It's really focused around helping the typical pet parent bring out the best in their dog, just like you said. So we run 2 locations. They're very large. We have at least 4 training rings at each center. We run over 200 group classes every week. So we see a lot of dogs. We utilize
200 classes a week?
Yeah, so over 4,000 new dogs a year. So lots of puppies and dogs coming through our doors.
Wow. And Sharon, what's your role in all this great? Because it is a great place. You got the great name, so you got to do great things.
I am the operations manager. So on a daily basis, I'm running the operations for both of the facilities in Richardson and Frisco. And I'm making sure everything's running smoothly and making sure that we've got the scheduling down so that we have all the offerings that the clients are seeking, and that we are taking care of our customer service needs and so forth, and taking care of a lot of things on a daily basis so that Maureen can focus on the other things like our online services, as well as the puppies, as well as keeping our curriculum fresh and up to date.
I like that. I mean, you are in person, but you also have found, thank you, COVID, that there can be a way to reach more people online, right?
Yes, absolutely. And COVID was the inspiration for us starting.
I've never heard that sentence before. COVID was the inspiration.
It kind of pushed us kicking and screaming into the online world, but it's been a good place to be, and we're going to continue there. We're finding that people that are not in our geographical area are enjoying getting to take advantage of the methodology and the classes that we offer by joining these online classes. And then additionally, some of our local clients are really enjoying having that as an option, especially with our puppy training. We have an online puppy seminar that's very popular that people really across the country are using to have an expert start with raising their pup.
And this is critical. You want to get them off on the right paw. So I want to talk about the seminar, but first I want to talk about something that's sort of new, and I think you guys are trend setting. And in some doggy daycares, to a limited degree, they do have a little like a puppy day school, but you guys are doing training. It's called Puppy Day School. And tell us about that, because I think a lot of people would be interested in that. It's not just your regular obedience 1, 2, and 3, good manners. Tell us, what is Puppy Day School, why you started it, when it started, and the bennies.
Yes, so we call it Great Puppy Day School. And
Great Puppy Day School. Good.
We got to use great. Got to use our branding. So Great Puppy Day School, we started it just a few months ago, and we are so pleased with this program. Clients are loving it. The results we're getting are fabulous. But those early weeks with a puppy are so critical in forming the dog that they're going to become. And to really do it right in those early weeks with a puppy takes not only a lot of time, but it really takes some expertise that most people don't have. And so we had clients that were asking for this. We were seeing people struggle with their puppies. So we formed this program. With us, the puppies come for 3 half days every week.
Wow. Okay.
And our professional trainers work with those puppies the entire time they're there. And most importantly, we counsel the owners on what they need to do when they get home with those puppies to continue what we've started in class. And so we're handling things in Puppy Day School, important things like counter conditioning, desensitization to handling. So these are pups that are going to learn to be calm and confident when they go to the groomer, when they go to the veterinarian, when their owner goes to trim their nails, when they see a strange dog when they're out and about. So all those early experiences that need to be handled kind of with kid gloves, we're doing that and giving these pups just an awesome start.
And you got to admit, it's probably they're so darn cute. They're coming in, they got their ears still coming up or
Oh,
doing
yeah.
stuff. I mean, what's been so they go for 3 half days a week. How long do they usually go?
So the program is 6 weeks. So the puppies come to us for 6 weeks in a row, three
Wow.
times a week. I'm sorry, it's 5 weeks. 5 weeks. 5 weeks in a row, 3 times a week. And then after that, the pet parent does have the option of extending with additional weeks, although we do cut them off at about 6 months because we really want to keep the program focused on puppies
Okay.
and not as
How young can they be? I know you want to make sure they get their first round of
yeah.
vaccinations.
So we are in an area where parvo is a problem. So we do actually require 2 sets of vaccinations
Okay.
plus 5 days for that vaccination, that last vaccination to take effect. And then
Okay.
they can come on down. And we like getting them early. So 9, 10 weeks is not too young to start if they've met their vaccination requirement.
Sharon, what's your take on this program? You're kind of seeing the day to day. What is the benefit you see for both the pup, the person, and the rest of us?
Well, what I'm saying is, we get a lot of phone calls from clients that, they haven't had a puppy in a while, or maybe even ever, right? And they've kind of aren't aware, or they've forgotten what having a puppy, the challenges of a puppy, right?
There goes your 8 hours of uninterrupted sleep.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
They bite with those needle teeth. That's what they do. They do all these kinds of things, and they're frustrated. And so what this allows them to do is then bring them to us and let us work with them. And then when they're finished with this program, basically we've taught them all the Manners 1 behaviors, the core behaviors, and they're really basically ready for Manners 2. We have Manners 1, 2, and 3. And the idea is that when they're finished with this program, not only do they have all the vital socialization that every puppy needs during that critical time, but they're also ready for Manners 2, so that the client can jump in. And
good.
if they want to come to school and bring their puppy to school, they're ready for Manners 2. So they kind of give it to us. It's kind of with the way we kind of talk about it is, well, you can let us do it or you can do it. Right?
No, thank you. What a great dog, please, for 200. Yeah.
Really
So
think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I like that. We've got just a minute left before we take a break. Maureen, what is it about the brains of a puppy that it is so critical and their fear stage that you really need to have this good foundation?
Yes, so the critical socialization period is generally talked about being between 8 and 16 weeks. And it's a phase that is not repeated again in a puppy's life. And the experiences they have during that critical socialization period are going to make a huge impact on their temperament, especially their confidence and their optimism going forward. So it's essential, especially for listeners who are not in the Dallas area and aren't able to bring their puppies to What a Great Dog. It's essential that you find a program that utilizes only positive reinforcement training that is so essential, especially with young puppies.
All right. We're speaking with Maureen Patin and Sharon Lacaze. They are the brains, the geniuses behind What a Great Dog training centers. They're in Frisco and Richardson, Texas. That's in the Dallas area. I want you to go to whatagreatdog.com after the show. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about puppies. So sit, stay. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Four-Legged Life Show. I'm your host, Arden Moore. We're talking with my pals at What a Great Dog. We're talking Maureen Patin and Sharon Lacaze. And I have to fess up, I love the place. I have had 2 dogs, both one from the streets, one from shelter, that have taken various levels of classes at What a Great Dog and have done quite well. Kona is my pet safety dog. She did all 3 doggy manners. She did canine good citizen, and she's a certified therapy pet. And she's got the biggest smile on the planet. And then we found this dog wandering the streets at the start of COVID, 8 pounds, never had a dog that little. And her name is Emma, my Gemma. And she has gone through the 3 levels of doggy manners there, got her canine good citizen, and is getting ready to enter the therapy program. She wants to be a dog with kids in the library and schools and read. She goes, Arden, I do not want to be a pet safety dog because I stiffen up. It comes up to that. But I love to be read to. So I want to thank you both because even though I've written a number of books and I know a little bit about dogs, I still think it's important, no matter what your level of knowledge of dogs, You need to go to a reputable dog training program because of the experience. Sharon, what's your take? I mean, you saw me coming in. I love the opportunity to bond with Kona and Emma.
Mm-hmm. Well, what I saw, especially with Emma, your Gemma and our Gemma, she was quite timid, when she started. And then as she kind of got used to and went through the program, she developed more confidence. And that's what we see a lot in our dogs that come in. They come in for Manners 1, they haven't seen the facility, they're not quite sure on that first visit. Are they at the vet? And then they get so excited to come there. They're like dragging their owners to the door. And a lot of times the owner's having a hard time getting them out the door to go home. So
Emma wanted to do a lot of shopping in your retail shop after class each time.
And Emma did do a lot of shopping and maybe even a little bit of shoplifting.
And she did make pals with a very big dog in class because we had a big dog that had passed away. And I thought it was fun when we had to pair up that we had the smallest and the largest dogs in class paired up because they liked each other.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So we talked about the puppy, the Great Puppy Day School. You threw another one in there, and all you have teenagers out there, listen up. Dogs also go through sort of an adolescent phase. So, Maureen, tell us about what you do for the adolescent dogs that are mouthing, jumping, grabbing their leash. There's a program you have.
Yes, so it's a new class. We're calling it Manners 1.5.
1.5. I love it.
And it's really aimed at those adolescent dogs. So when people bring their pets and they come through the Manners 1 class, at the end of that, they've got some nicely trained behaviors of sit, down, stay, come when called, leave it, go to mat. But they're probably still struggling with some of their around the house behaviors and just living with that dog.
Yes.
Especially if they started their training as a puppy, and so the training's going well, but they're hitting that adolescent stage. And current studies on animal behavior continue to point out the dogs do go through an adolescence, and it's not unlike human adolescence.
They're challenging a little bit, aren't they? They don't have to be aggressive, but they can be a little challenging, right?
Absolutely can be a challenging time. And just like with humans, it can be a little bit of a fork in the road on where this dog is going to go with his behavior and his temperament. So it's really essential that we help clients through that adolescent period with their dogs. So this Manners 1.5 class does continue with the training of those trained behaviors, but it also helps educate the clients on the challenges of the dog's adolescent period and gives them really pro tips on how to manage through this time and to really help their dog, their puppy, grow into.
Give us an example. Throw me one. Throw me a bone, Maureen. Throw me a bone.
Yes.
You got one, Sharon?
No, go ahead.
Okay, so I am currently in this class.
Yes.
You are. Who's your doggy you're in with?
You've met my fluffy monster, I think. I have a teenage boy, male, and I'm not used to having males. I normally have females, so this is a new experience for me. So I'm in this class. So
and what's your name of your dog? Give him a shout out.
Dylan.
Okay.
As in Marshall Matt Dillon. He's a Malinois.
Good.
He's a teenager, and this is a whole new world for me, a male teenager. So there's certain things he does, marking and so forth.
Oh, like marking on your couch or what?
I don't have that problem, but outside and things that he should not be marking on outside.
Come on, give us an example. What's he piddle on?
So what we're learning in this class is like how to teach them, like don't mark here, but mark here.
Okay.
So we're working on those kinds of things and various impulse control things, because as these hormones start kicking in, whether it's female hormones or male hormones,
good point.
There's a whole nother world of things that you have to work on. Because they just start exhibiting these things and you're like, what is this?
Where did that come from, Dylan?
What does this relate to? And it's the hormonal type changes that you're going through.
Yeah.
And they have a mind of their own. So we're working on, if I were to also have a subtitle of that class, it would probably be impulse control.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So give us a tip that has been working, because you're actually taking the class with your teenage dog.
Right. It's rewarding, for making good choices, like we're putting like some very
Tempting
things in the room.
Like what? Be specific.
Like fluffy things and things in the middle of the room to leave it kind of thing.
Okay.
Shoes, like he still has an issue, with shoes and socks because they smell like mom. So we're putting some things in the room and we're working on the leave-its and rewarding for making good choices and turning back to mom. instead of wanting to grab the socks and run. So impulse control, also rewarding. We've gone outside because it's been really nice weather and working on marking on this, like pottying on this tree, but not on this man-made thing like the building, right?
Okay.
So we're working on making these kinds of choices, and it really is working out quite well.
Well, I wish you and Dylan the best. And Maureen, jump in here. What's another thing, this 1.5 for adolescents? People are kind of interested in this. I think this is also very important because you want to have them become good adults.
Yes. And another key piece of this class is the education for the pet parents on their dog's needs, especially during this time. So during adolescence, puppies have so much energy, and their instincts, their natural instincts, are playing a big role in their behavior. And so the class helps us understand, especially for the particular breeds, what that dog's need is, what their doggy instincts and doggy needs are, and how to best meet those. A terrier is going to have a tremendous need to sniff. And if we can give them...
This is radio. Okay.
And if we can give them that outlet, either by enrolling in a nose work class or even just doing simple scent games at home. And so this class educates and gives people ways to implement at home strategies that really just help fulfill their dog's needs. What
about a working dog like a Belgian Malinois? What's their need? Because Sharon's listening.
So all the working breeds, of course, have just tremendous focus and energy. And so the ability to really put them to work can just really help make them a better dog. And their job can be, it doesn't necessarily have to be, in the case of a Belgian Malinois, chasing down the bad guys.
No.
We can give them a job that fits our lives a little bit more. And so just through, it can be obedience training, that can be their job, or you can get into dog sport, which I know we're going to talk about a little bit later, can be a great way to engage their mind.
And Sharon, what do you think about your connection with Dylan, taking him to this 1.5 adolescence class? I mean, you run the place, but you're actually being a student with your dog.
Mm-hmm. So, me taking him, he loves nothing more, and this kind of dog likes nothing more than to work. So our connection improves every time he can get even 10 minutes with me to work, right? And it also wears him out. For him to be able to work and work with me, it wears him out. So every time we can work on things using his brain, he's more relaxed, and he's not circling in his crate 5,000 times, Right. So the other thing I wanted to, one of the things we're learning in the class too is the magic of decompression walks. To let them, you don't always need to have them right at your side doing this really regimented heel.
Yes.
What's even more important is having them on a long line. Or even off leash if you can, get a fenced in place, or if they have a good recall, just to go let them sniff.
I like that. Yeah, it helps them. Yeah, they need to relax. Hey, we're speaking with Sharon Lacaze and Maureen Patin of What a Great Dog Training Centers. They're in Frisco and Richardson, Texas. And when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about some canine sports. So sit and stay. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Four-Legged Life Show. I'm your host, Arden Moore. Got dog? Your dog needs to be schooled in a positive, great way. And who better than the team at What a Great Dog in Richardson and Frisco, Texas. We got the leaders of the pack here. We're talking Sharon Lacaze and Maureen Patin. And we talked in the beginning a little bit about pups, and they had 2 new programs. There's like a great puppy day school. You can have them get some good time. And then also for an adolescent pup, because things change. The brain is moving, the physical body is growing. You hope they combine and in sync. But you know what? Just like us, our dogs like to do things. And there's a number of different sports out there. And this is what I wanted to spotlight for the second half. And Sharon, you're quite the sport. Tell us what sports your dogs and what their names are and what sports they're in.
Okay, I have 2 Malinois, an older one and a younger one. And that's Ripley is the older female. Mm-hmm. And I have the younger one, which is Dylan, the 2-year-old male. And then I have Misty, my freak of the group, which she's a standard schnauzer. And all I mean is freak is different breed. That she keeps me on my toes, right?
Good.
She's the smarty pants of the group. So the sports they are involved in are agility, barn hunt, dock diving. They're also involved in nose work very heavily. And then Dylan, my youngster, he's involved in Mondio, which is a bike sport.
Say that name again.
Mondio, Mondio, which is heavily obedience work, and then some bite work.
Okay.
So what I love about these things, like for instance, Misty, the standard schnauzer, like my favorite of all these things is agility, right?
Okay.
And I wanted Misty and all of them to do agility. I wanted Misty to do agility so bad. And she said, no, I just want my nose to be on the ground. That's really hard to do agility with your nose on the ground. So I said, okay, Misty, I give up. You win. We'll do nose work. And at the time, that was my very first venture into nose work. I was like, I don't really want to do nose work. I think it's boring, whatever. So I'm like, all right, Missy, you went. So we tried nose work. I love it now. I love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. And Misty is one qualifying run away from her overall elite title. She loves it. I love it. We compete all the time, and the other two dogs compete in it as well. But here's the thing about nose work, and we have lots of classes in nose work, but
it's like the super sniffer class.
It is the super sniffer class. They go and they find these essential oils, basically. It's how you train any kind of nose work, whether it's drug detection or finding a person, or it's the same kind of training. But they use their brain. They love to use their noses, of course, and then they use their brain to indicate, where that
I like that.
Right? But here's the thing: even after a 1 hour class, they crash. They are exhausted. You would think that agility would exhaust them.
No, you're working the mental noodle.
Even them running around the ring at 100 miles an hour exhaust them less than using their nose for an hour and their brain. And
that's good.
So
yeah.
It's lovely. Yeah.
And Maureen, canine sports, give us kind of the overview. It seems to be, back in the day it was agility, it was obedience, but there's rally, there's the nose work. There's something called agility stimulus control games, scares me. And you have some trick training. I mean, tell us kind of an overview. Why is it so important for a dog to be in maybe a sport, but a sport that they like, as Sharon was mentioning? The dog's got to be in it too.
Oh, absolutely. And it's exciting how much each year dog sport grows and how new dog sports are created. Back in the day, it was just competitive obedience, and then agility came on, and now there's just so many options. And it really is a matter of finding something that you and your dog are going to enjoy doing together. And not every dog is suited for every sport, and neither is every person. But now, with the variety of dog sports that are available, literally every pet owner can find a sport that both they and their dog are going to enjoy doing. And the relationship with your dog, when you do something like this together, it's just incredible how it grows. It's really a beautiful thing. And people often tell me that they got into dog sport because they felt like their dog needed it. But then once they're in, they realize they needed it too. And that the whole social scene around the sport, in addition to the fun and the physical activity, it's just a wonderful, wholesome thing for everybody to be doing with their dog.
People know a lot about rally and things like that. I mean, about agility, but rally. Tell us more about that.
So rally is a form of competitive obedience. Back 20 plus years ago, competitive obedience was a very formalized thing, almost militaristic in the requirements and how you were scored. And it was recognized that there could be a more fun version of this.
Yeah, please.
So that's essentially what rally obedience is. So it's competing in obedience, but it's much more fun, and it's very conducive to positive training, and we enjoy it. So it's things like the dog's just being trained to walk nicely on leash, sit down, stay, come when called, and some fancy moves are thrown in there too.
We wish our spouses would do, right?
Yes,
come when called.
Right.
Well, there's another. I like that you also do some trick training, and Kona learned a few tricks when she was at What a Great Dog, and she weaves between my legs, she spins, she jumps in my arms, and things like that. And I also came up with a trick. I pretend to put her on a leash, and I say, "You're on the invisible leash." And when I'm in a class with kids, she's a therapy dog, and she walks around the room as if I have her on a leash next to me. Do you guys like that trick?
That's pretty cute.
And then in pet first aid classes, I just say, we're going to do CPR and rescue breathing, and she pretends to be unconscious. So I can clap, wakey, wakey, Kona, and she doesn't move.
Nice.
So I am inspired by What a Great Dog. You guys are that. But trick training, come on. Who wants to jump in? That's kind of a fun thing. People want party games with their pups, right?
Absolutely.
It's so fun.
Yeah.
It's really, really fun. And they love it. I mean, it's so funny how much they love to do it. Again, it's really that bond with your dog and how much they love to work. They just, honestly, they just want to interact with you. You know, they just want you to interact with them. And of course, the treats are an extra special bonus, but they really just want to interact, and they just really want to work. I mean, nobody just wants us to lay around all the time.
No.
Right?
So what's a couple fun tricks that you have either trained in your dog, each of you guys, or have it at What a Great Dog? We'll start with Sharon. What's a couple of fun tricks?
Both the Malinois take a lot of joy out of playing dead, right? Pretending like they're dead.
I say you won the lotto and you pass out. That's what I do.
Yeah. That's a much nicer way to train. They think it's great fun, and in fact, I can just kind of look at them sometimes, and they're like, "I'm doing it now. Give me a treat!" Right? So,
so they learn how to not move. What's another trick they like?
They do sit pretty, where they sit up, but then they're up all the way up. Sit pretty.
I can sit pretty.
Bow.
Okay. Not pretty, but
bow. Yeah, and
holding objects in their mouth is a really
really? What would be some things they like, Maureen?
Well, so we use it sometimes around here. We do have a retail store here. So we love that most of our staff dogs have that behavior trained, whether you can hand them something and they'll hold it on cue and you can take pictures. So we're constantly
marketing.
Yeah, we're constantly
canine marketing it. What a great dog. Yeah.
So
and they don't chew it apart, right? It's a soft
exactly. So they just hold it quietly. And so that works out nicely.
Here's a funny story. You know, I had you've seen my office, Arden. Like I have a child gate across the opening, so I can leave the door open, and my dogs are in there. So one of my team members, we got kind of lazy. Like she'd want to give me something, but she didn't want to open the gate and come bring it to me. She just drop it inside the gate, and my Malinois female Ripley, she would pick the item up and bring it to me. Whether it was a credit card or a pencil.
Nice. But that's good. That's fun. They're working their noodles, right?
That's right. She needs a job, and she likes knowing she's got one.
And we were lazy, and so she'd pick it up and come bring it to me.
See? What a Great Dog benefits us humans, too. Hey, we're going to wrap up this episode and take a quick break. And when we come back, I really want to learn a little bit more about nose work and dock diving, anything you want to share, because people need to know that it is a growing trend to have dog sports. So everybody sit and stay. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Four-Legged Life Show. We're talking with Maureen Patin and Sharon Lacaze of What a Great Dog. I hope you guys are having a good time.
We are.
What a great gig to have. You know a little bit of your past, but I bet you enjoyed what you did in the past, but come on, this got to be canine cool. So Maureen, tell everybody what you did, because it's like, what's my line? What did you do before you entered the world of dogs?
So I was in technology and had a management position with a Fortune 100 company. I remember as a kid thinking, if I ever had a job that I could take my dog to work with me, that's great. It took me a lot of years to get there, but here I am.
So, but that gave you the business skills and human interaction skills that you needed, right?
Yeah, absolutely. This is about dog training, but it's also running a business, and so it's an important part of it.
And what about you, Sharon?
Yeah. So, I always want to work with animals, like an animal trainer, whether it's dolphins or dogs or something, but, it doesn't really pay a lot. So went into corporate world, Fortune 200 company, controller, and then a plant manager and so forth. But really what I was doing is I was gathering my pile of money so that I could come do something like this. And so I'm just tickled to death. So because that wasn't always fun. This is pretty much always fun, right? So that's kind of where I think we kind of both did the same thing. We're trying to gather a pile of money so we could come.
You gathered a good pile of money, and now you're going to the dogs in a good way, which is perfect. A little bit about agility, because agility evolves. Can you give us a little take on what's happening agility in 2022, Maureen?
Yes, and I'll let Sharon jump in here as well. I also have competed in agility and taught it in the past. I'm actually not competing right now. Sharon's a little more active with it than I am. But it's definitely a growing sport. And the point that I'll add is there's more and more organizations that are becoming governing bodies for agility. So now there's all these different flavors of agility, essentially, including one that we've started at What a Great Dog through one of our trainers, Megan Johnson, and that's called reactive and distracted agility. And it's agility trials, but set up specifically for dogs that are still learning to work through the incredible challenges of being in a crowded agility venue.
Oh, I like that.
So there's just so many different ways now to go and engage with agility, even with some dogs that maybe would have been too challenged behaviorally to have done it in the traditional sense.
And you got to be coordinated as a human. So it's not just the dog going through a tunnel.
True.
You got to know where you're going when. Sharon, what would you like to add?
I would just say, I'd like to say that her acronym is RAD, right? Reactive and distracted agility, RAD. And so
I like that, RAD, reactive and distracted agility. Cool.
Yes.
Those dogs in the past didn't ever get to do agility, because when you go to an agility venue, it's crazy. You know, it's noisy, there's barking, and those dogs just would shut down or get even more, reactive.
Yes.
Right.
And Megan just had such a passion for helping those dogs be able to play agility that she formed this RAD organization, and we host the trials at our place.
I love it. Now, I have to throw this in, because on your Facebook page, you surprised me, Maureen. You're into pickleball. America's into pickleball. I wonder if, tell us about that. And do you think there'd ever be something with a pickleball-like thing that could be involving you and your dog? You could create a whole new sport.
I don't know about that, but it's a new hobby that my husband and I have taken up and we're enjoying. But, the interesting thing is the myth, at least, around pickleball is that it was actually named after the founder's dog, was named Pickle, and that's why it's called pickleball. And I've never heard
the myth? Okay.
viable option for that, but I've also not heard confirmation. So I think there is a dog connection there.
Oh, very good. Have you tried pickleball yet, Sharon?
I have not. But
everybody's doing it.
But
no pressure, Sharon. No pressure.
My husband was looking at our backyard and he was like, "We can put a pickleball court right here." And I'm just like, "Oh my gosh!" I'm like, Maureen's trying to figure out how to put a pickleball court in.
Yes, exactly.
Now, we haven't touched the dock diving. I lived for many years in California, and I got to see it in its infancy. And I actually had a pair of dogs that were the original SoCal surf dogs. So I actually did surfing. Well, actually, humbly, they surf better than I did. But what do you think about some of the water sports? I know we're in Texas, but there's lakes and other things. What's your take on water sports?
I tell you what, it is very, very, very popular here. And people drive hundreds of miles to get to, a dock diving facility. There's not that many of them, but many, many, many of our clients participate in that. It's lots of fun. I've done it with my dogs. I've even taken the Schnauzer, who doesn't particularly like water, to dock diving. But it's lots of fun. The dogs are just running up on a dock and jumping off and, throwing a toy and they're grabbing it. And, it's all about how far they can go. It's been, they're given their ribbons and so forth based on how far they go in the pool. I'd love nothing more than to put in a dock diving facility. We don't have the space for that, but I would love to do that. But it is so much fun, and it's just another way for you to get involved with your dog. And so many breeds love that.
Oh yes.
So
what's your take on that, Maureen?
Yeah, so you would think it would only be the traditional water-loving breeds, like you'd expect the Labs and Goldens to be out there.
Yeah, and Border Collies, they're big, they're brainiacs.
Yes, but it turns out that lots and lots of dogs can learn to love water and can learn to love leaping out there and trying to get as far as they can.
That's a lot of trust, too. They're in the air and then they're in the water, right? So we need to talk about how to keep your dog ready for a sport, just like us as an athlete. I'm not a big fan of weekend warriors. Maureen, what's some tips you can give people so they don't have dogs that get some injuries or, because they're not really warmed up or ready to go?
Yeah, and there are excellent classes and online resources on canine conditioning. And especially when you're doing a demanding sport like agility, like dock diving, I think we're really duty bound to keep our dogs safe by making sure they're in the right physical condition. So, it starts with being an appropriate weight. Nothing's going to injure a dog faster than them carrying too much weight. So super important to work with your veterinarian to make sure that you're keeping your dog at the proper weight. And then secondly, there are absolutely, just like for human athletes, there are conditioning exercises and stretches that are very valuable.
I mean, doing a play bow or sit up, isn't that helping?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
And so, having a warm up routine that involves some of those kinds of moves before you step onto the agility field or go do a dock diving run is really important.
So Sharon, when you're getting ready to do an agility event with your dogs, what kind of warm ups do you and your dogs do?
Just like you just said, some people may not be aware, but there are doggy chiropractors and so forth. And I have one.
They're recognized by the American Veterinary Medical Association. Yes.
And mine has shown me some various exercises. And just like you said, play bow, you do a play bow with them, but you kind of have them, push them back a little on their haunches.
Oh,
so
okay.
They're really stretching their hindquarters and so forth. But there's several like that you're doing, and you're having them, luring them around with a treat so that they're taking their nose back toward their hip. So during that stretch. So there's several stretches like that you can do. So that you're just trying to get them, just like we would kind of do people yoga, you're kind of having them do doggy yoga to get those muscles warmed up. You don't just take them out there and start having them jump over big jumps and things. I mean, you got to warm up their muscles just like we would do before we started a marathon or a sprint.
Or a pickleball tournament. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
I bet you stretch. I sure do.
Hey, we have a little more than a minute left. I want you both to tell people what's a wish you have for people and their dogs for this holiday season. What's something we can do? Doesn't have to cost money to bring out the best in our dog. Who wants to go first?
I guess I'll jump in. And if I were going to give just one tip, it would be to make sure that you're meeting your dog's needs, right? Make sure that your dog's getting the mental and physical stimulation that he needs. Dogs need to chew, they need to sniff, they need a chance to explore new places. And I think we owe it to our companions to offer that, make sure we're offering those options to them.
I like that. Sharon, you're up.
Yeah, and just to take off on that, more and more and more is this decompression walk, where you attach your leash to a back attach harness.
Yep.
Let them just walk and sniff. And if you've got a safe spot that's fenced, and I'm talking about acres, we have this sniff spot app that you can download where you can find somebody's property that they're not using and rent it for a very small amount of money.
Oh, I've seen those groups do that. Yeah.
Yes.
It's kind of like Airbnb for dogs.
Yeah,
It is.
And it's inexpensive, and you can just let them run. And it's safe. That's what they want to do. If you can do that once a week, it is huge bang for your buck. It really, really, really helps a lot.
The backyard gets really boring. Dogs want novelty. They want to go on adventures.
Just like us.
Exactly. Just like us. We take our dogs on a doggy vacay once a year, and they love it. Hey, we're speaking with Sharon Lacaze and Maureen Patin of What a Great Dog Training Centers. I want you all to hop over to whatagreatdog.com after the show. Be good to your dog. They bring out the best in us if we give them that chance. So work their noodles, work their bodies. I really appreciate both of you being on the show. I want to thank all of you pet pals for tuning in. And of course, all the stations airing our show coast to coast. You can subscribe. It's easy. Just go to fourleggedlife.com. And I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Tevra Brands. If you do the code ARDEN20, that's Arden, T-O, at checkout at TEVRA.com, you will get 20% off. That's pretty nice, right? So until next time, this is Arden Moore. I'm saying to all you 2, 3, and 4-leggers out there, paws up. Paws up, pet pals. Thanks for watching. If you liked my video, please hit the like button. Also, subscribe to my channel. I want to keep providing you with great guests, special first aid tips, and yes, more videos of these guys. See you next time. Paws up!